In this video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, a little bit fun. What we're going to be doing is looking at the 5 most ridiculous books available on Amazon right now. And before we get into it, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. This isn't mean-spirited. Okay, the people who wrote this, we have to assume that they knew what they were doing. Okay. Now, my idea of this is good and it's bad. Okay, it's good in the fact that with Amazon, every day, every month, I forget what the stats are, but, thousands of books being uploaded to Amazon platform every single day. People are increasingly looking for more and more ways to stand out, to get people talking about their book. That whole adage, all press is good press. I don't know how true that is, but as long as people are talking about your book, potentially you're going to be making sales. So I've identified 5 books that are really, really taking a risk and hoping people are going to be talking about it. And they are, because look, I'm talking about it. So they are succeeding somewhat. So we're going to look at all 5. We're going to, all of them are in the erotica space for some strange reason. Some of the content on here, instantly, not that this channel is monetized, but if it was, I assume I would get demonetized based on the content of these books. But let's look at them. We're going to look at all of them, and we're going to look at how well they're selling. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, here's book number. Here's book number 1. Here's book number 1. Banged by a Dinosaur Among the Taliban, Part 1. Part 1. Okay, so this came out around the end of August. I remember when this first came out. I know it was around like the U.S. pulling troops out of Afghanistan. So the fact that, yes, it is in the news, that the fact that, there was... it wasn't a great time, some lives were lost and all that type of thing. So I don't love that it was potentially playing off of that part, sort of the human tragedy behind it. But you know what, again, like I said, they're trying to stand out. So Banged by a Dinosaur Among the Taliban, which is just a crazy, like, I think they thought of the Taliban, and then they thought of like, okay, what else can we add in there that would be completely insane? And this is what they did. So yeah, it's for $2.99. 13 pages. Wow. 13 pages for $2.99. It's quite pricey. One review, which says a cliffhanger. Give me a complete story. So there is a lesson to be learned from here. So this book, I'm assuming, was written probably in a day. The cover, I don't know who would have done the cover design. Let's see if it has here. No, it doesn't even have credit to the cover designer. I wonder, the cover designer might have been like, nope, don't put my name on that. But yeah, so there was one lesson to be learned from here. Look at that file size too. 3 megabytes. Wow. What's going on? Yeah, so disclosure, this story is part of a series and ends on a cliffhanger. It doesn't look like it's gonna be a series. This came out in August. These aren't like fantasy, 500, 700 page books here. So it looks like this author Rose Geller decided to, you know what, it didn't do well. It's not going to work. I'm not going to do a series of it. But so the one review complained about the cliffhanger-ness of the book. So I'm assuming that she added this afterwards. The story part of a series and ends on a cliffhanger. So this is a lesson to be learned. What people are saying in the comments or in the reviews, it's very, very easy for us to get angry and be like, oh, this person doesn't know what he's talking about. But when we calm down and look at it, we could do a better job at setting expectations. So this is what I'm assuming she did, was to better set the expectations for the experience of the book. Okay, this is book number 1. Let's get to book number 2. Unicorn Butt Cops Beach Patrol. So this is, it looks to be a gay erotica. Came out in 2015. 42 pages long. I don't know of any, unless you could tell me down in the comments. I don't know. I can't think of anything back in the early 2015s that was unicorn, that really brought up unicorns to jump on a trend. But again, this, seems to be really something that, they're really trying to go out there. When I talk to people and I'm like, okay, people are like, okay, well, I don't want a book to be normal. My book to be normal. I don't want it to be like anything else. The trouble with that is, how do you market it? Okay, you need to know at least a few books that are similar to yours. When you go too far on the outside, you really take a risk. Okay, and that's what these people are doing here. These authors, they're really, really taking a risk. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. Most times it doesn't. Sometimes it pays off. So the previous book and this book is when it hasn't worked. Okay, book out for almost 7 years, 3 reviews, not super great. Yeah, I mean, this gets some pretty graphic stuff here. 42 pages. That's a lot to fill in 42 pages. The previous book, I didn't go over the sales ranking, but here you can look at ABSR, or Amazon bestseller rank. So 1.8 million. Then I can go to ABSR calculator. I have to take up the commas, and that is about a sale a month, probably less than that. This one here, Banged by a Dinosaur, that's the same thing too. It's probably got maybe just like, you can probably count all the sales on one hand, I'm guessing. So those are 2 books. Here's another book from the same author that, I mean, you have to give the author credit. They're sticking to it. Chuck Tingle, which has to be a pen name. But this came out in 2015, and they stuck to the really out there, trying to get people to talk about it. Because 5 years later, or 4 years later, they came out with another short story about a book called, with one of the longest titles I've ever seen, Nice Guy trying to get through this. Nice Guy Dinosaur doesn't. I can't get through it. You can read it, but that's pretty wild. Yeah. This one is done better. It was released just like 2 years ago. 19 ratings. Ratings doesn't show, is not exactly sales, but it does give you a good indication. So 647,000 in the Kindle store. It's ranked. So that is giving us about 4 sales a month. So, I mean, he's starting to do better. I wonder if we look at books that he's recently released in 2021, and maybe he's doing even better. Maybe he's starting to carve this niche for himself of these, really out there erotic type of books. All right, next one. And this one was quite active, especially early, 2020? There we are. Kissing the Coronavirus. Kissing the Coronavirus Chronicles, Book 1 by MJ Edwards. This one is really unique. Like I said, there are some books that, take the risk and they flop. Some books take the risk and then they do well. Against all odds, they do well. So this is 16 pages. 16, that's it. 99 cents. Like 16 pages. So this came out in April 22nd, 2020, March, April. So it was like a month or two, sort of like after the whole world started, closing shop. And one thing that I really like about this is this right here. Let's see if I can zoom in. This is MJ Edwards' debut book, and is her attempt at trying to pay the bills following her job loss. So not only did she take a risk at coming out with something like this, but she's like, you know what? I lost my job. I might as well do it, right? Let's write 16 pages of something crazy insane, and let's get it out there and see how it sells. So I can really, really appreciate that. Yeah, I can really appreciate that. So if you know of this author, I'd love to interview her and just get the backstory behind that, because I'm always interested in stories, how people come to write their first book. Maybe I'm assuming in my head that she was, working on books for years and she never, or it's too expensive to get them published, or she was trying to reach out to traditional publishers or something, and then the virus hit and she lost her job, and she's like, you know what, I'll throw this out. I'm really interested to so if you do know of her or know how to get in contact with her, then yeah, give her this video, because I'd love to chat with her. So how is she doing? Okay, so 689 ratings. That's pretty good. In like a year and a half. That's really good. So let's see her sales rank. She's selling 5 books a day. It's pretty good. I mean, it's 99 cents. So you're only earning like, 30 or 35 cents a book. But what she has going for her is that she has a series. So let's take a look at some of these other ones here in her series. So this one is $1.33. I will say 99 cents. So 17 pages again. Ooh, this one's not rated as well. 65 ratings. 30. Ooh. Ouch. And 10. Okay. Oh, okay. This is for all the books. I get it. Okay. So it looks like there's not a lot of read through here. 689 ratings here. So just to give us a rough idea, a read-through rate between book 1 and 2. Now it's starting to become like from more fun to more educational, but the good read-through rate between book 1 and 2 is somewhere between 50 and 70%. And that really depends on a lot of things, like how much do people pay for book 1? How much time is there between books? Do you capture their email address? What was the quality of book 1, on a bunch of different factors. But let's say 50 to 70% is a good range, a read-through rate. 50% of people who read book 1 will go on to book 2. Okay, so just a really rough sort of back of the napkin calculation. We can assume, okay, 689 ratings here, 65 ratings here. So let's do 65 divided by 689. So like a 10% read-through rate, which is, that came out in December, April. Yeah, there is a little bit of length, but I'm assuming that a lot of people pick this up just for the fun of it, right? Like just out of pure curiosity. But I could be wrong. That's just back of the napkin calculation. So I could be wrong. Okay, last one. But this is a success in my eyes. Last one, by the same author, in fact, that came out the same year, but later on. So 16 pages again, like really, really short, like short stories. Penetrated by the president's Twitter feed. Yeah. So again, really jumping on like this huge trend, it's always in the news, his Twitter feed, the crazy stuff, or I don't want to get too political, but the stuff that he's saying on his Twitter feed, I just love this here. That is, until she reads the copy here is not the greatest, because juice is flowing and then juice is flowing again here, so it's not the greatest copy, but it's just kind of humorous. Like, that is, until she reads the president's Twitter feed, then Beth figures out exactly how to get her juices flowing by the Twitter feed. It's pretty wild. Let's see how this is doing here. So this is probably like $5 a month or something. Yeah, $5 a month. So it might have done better when it first came out. 23 ratings, which isn't bad, and it's actually rated like pretty decent. 16 pages. Yeah, good for them. So to sum up, let me know, have you read any of these books? This could possibly be part 1 to the series. I might want to do this again because I find this just humorous, and I like finding it just out of curiosity as well for people who do take those extreme risks by going way outside of the norm. Does it flop or does it succeed? And which ones flop and which ones do well? I'm really interested in that. If you're interested, I could do a part 2 to this as well. Again, I don't want this to be mean-spirited, but this is just purely more of a entertainment, but also educational point of view as well. If you've read any of these, let me know. If you want me to do part 2 to this series, let me know. If you know of any other books that fit into these type of categories that are wild that I missed, let me know as well. I'm dealing with Weekend Publisher. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and I do have some actually serious, helpful videos as well. So if you're still here, there's a video right this side, right here, that YouTube deems is the best for you based on the algorithm. And then this side is my most recent video. Check them out. I hope you enjoy them.